Dealers. Jason Isaac, CEO of the American Energy Institute, is with me now. Jason, nice to see you.
It's great to be on, Steve. Thanks for having me.
America runs on vast quantities of cheap energy. That's what powered America to being the dominant economic force on the planet for a century. Anything short of having vast quantities of cheap energy in America is handicapped, kneecapped, really. And it's the policies like green energy, like pretending that windmills and solar panels are going to power America. And that is pretending. There is not the energy density there to make it happen, is it?
No, and there's absolutely not. It takes vast amount of lands. It's not affordable. It's certainly not reliable. It's weather dependent, and it's foreign made. And you look at economies like Germany, the largest economy in Europe, they are collapsing. They're deindustrializing because they have been embracing this Green New Scam for years longer than the United States has. And we are headed down the same path if we don't stop. And Tuesday would be a good opportunity to change directions and embrace affordable, reliable, and preferably American energy. It's the energy that's produced more responsibly than anywhere else on the planet.
Yeah, more responsibly, and that's the thing. America's the cleanest, greenest industrialized nation on planet Earth or in the history of planet Earth. That's fact. We do more to remediate and clean up after ourselves than any country in history. In fact, when you go in and put in an oil well or a gas well, let's say you go to the Powder River Basin of Wyoming and put in a natural gas well, which there's lots of them. Once that gas well is done and cleaned up and gone, you would never know they were there. That's the beauty of America, and this idea that somehow we need to change what we're doing is insane, isn't it?
It really is. And you talk about the Powder River Basin and the coal mines that are there. It's the same way. I've driven through there. I've toured the coal mines. We come in and we clean up things afterwards. And every form of energy production has some sort of environmental impact. And you would think that we would want the one that has the least environmental impact. And that's hydrocarbons, oil, natural gas, and coal, and nuclear energy that have the smallest environmental impact and the greatest energy density, as you alluded to earlier in the segment. Energy density is incredibly important. Affordable, reliable energy.
Well, it is. And I like the idea of modular nuclear. I do. Having nuclear power plants that are the size of a mid-sized SUV, I think that's absolutely brilliant. However, when you go to hydrocarbons, and I'm glad you call them hydrocarbons because I do, it's so much more that comes from them. My computer, hydrocarbons. My phone, hydrocarbons. My packaging for food, hydrocarbons. My equipment in the medical suite where they perform surgery on me, hydrocarbons. Everywhere you look are products that come from oil and petroleum products and hydrocarbons. And this idea, this fantasy that somehow we would use something different just doesn't make sense. It's never going to happen. Oil is here. Hydrocarbons are here to stay. We might as well continue to produce them in the best, most efficient, and cleanest way possible. That is a fact, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And hydrocarbons are the Chinese-made wind and solar that is being forced into a parasite to our grids that are really leading to higher cost. I live a high-carbon lifestyle. I think the rest of the world should too, because you're right, Steve. We do have economic prosperity and environmental leadership. We're world leaders in clean air in the United States. We've reduced pollution nearly 80% over the last 5 decades. We're number one when it comes to access to clean and safe drinking water. And today, women around the world will spend 200 million hours walking to collect water because they don't have access to affordable, reliable energy.
Exactly right. It's reliable energy that powers not just America, but the American economy and therefore the world economy. It powers everything. Clean water, clean transportation, clean fuel. The idea that somehow a windmill created, again, how are those windmills built? What are those components made of?
Yeah, fiberglass and steel from China. They're made out of hydrocarbons.
Bingo. And those solar panels that come from China that are highly toxic and can pollute our groundwater, what are those made out of?
Yeah, the vehicles that are pulling the rare earth elements and other critical elements and minerals out of the soil powered by diesel. The plastic components are made out of hydrocarbons.
Right. And the giant fire I saw yesterday of a battery plant on fire, a lithium battery plant on fire, is that the Green New Deal?
Yeah, that's the green
lithium battery fire that could not be controlled?
Yeah, heavily toxic. It's happening around the world. In Germany, just in the last couple of weeks, a brand new state-of-the-art fire station was completely destroyed because the EV fire truck inside of it combusted. It caught on fire, took down a brand new state-of-the-art fire station.
Jason, let me tell you an experience that I have. I've had, and many people have. I take a vehicle, a pickup truck. It's got a 27-gallon fuel tank. I fill the fuel tank up, and I come home and I park it in the garage with 27 gallons of highly combustible gasoline. And I leave it there overnight. Two things happen. First of all, I wake up and the same amount of energy is in my tank. And secondly, it doesn't burst into flames. If I put the same EV in the garage, I wake up the next morning and some percentage of that power and energy is gone because it deteriorates, the batteries. And at any given time, it can spontaneously erupt and burn down my house and kill me, my family, my cats, my dogs, and everybody else around, right?
I mean, look at State Farm, the insurance company. They are removing EV charging station from their corporate facilities and not allowing them because of the risk for fire.
Well, how long until, I mean, the insurance guy comes around to my house and says, hey, you got a trampoline in the backyard. You got to get rid of that or we're not going to insure you. How long until the insurance guy comes around and says, you got a charging station in your garage, which means you're charging an EV, a car, truck, or bicycle. That can't be there anymore. How long until we hear that conversation?
I think we're getting there now, Steve. The rates for insuring electric vehicles are much higher. This is kind of one of these shocks to ownership, pun intended, of EVs. They cost more. They go through tires more, and the insurance costs are a lot higher.
Well, right.
Half the people are saying, you know what, I don't want this EV anymore. I'm going to go back to a gas or diesel vehicle.
Furthermore, the EVs being so much heavier, what else do? They turn the roads to dust faster. They destroy tires, they destroy brakes, they destroy roads, right? So there's 3 more strikes against EVs.
Weren't made for those vast amounts of weights of electric vehicles. The batteries are super heavy. To do a fire truck as an electric vehicle is absolutely absurd. You're around a lot of water. It gets soil wet.
Speaking of that, tell me about how EVs do when the salt water comes from a hurricane. How do they do then?
Yeah, they're not too well. I mean, Florida has now basically created an EV registry. They're asking that if there is a potential hurricane, they want to know if you have a golf cart with a lithium-ion battery or an EV with a lithium-ion battery, or in your home. So they basically can create a registry, and they're asking people to pull them out onto the street. These are just things we're taking a massive step back, and that's the green scam.
And one more little instructive lesson. The state of New York had electric snow plows for a while. They don't anymore. Why? Because they failed miserably. Jason Isaac, greatly appreciate you being here, CEO of the American Energy Institute. You come back anytime. It's good fun.
Thanks, Steve. Keep living the high carbon lifestyle.
I will, just like Bigfoot, a big carbon footprint. All right, Jason, thank you very much. We'll take a break and be back.